This is truly one of my favorite shows at this point, and we're only 2 seasons in, which is like ridiculous. Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Megan. I'm an aspiring screenwriter and I work as a script reader for screenwriting competitions. Today, I wanted to start a new series on my channel. So what I'm going to do is watch the pilot episode of a show and just kind of review it and talk about why it works and just the different elements about it. You know, what makes this a producible script, all of that. So for this first video in this series, I am going to do Ted Lasso because what else would I start with? This is truly one of my favorite shows at this point, and we're only 2 seasons in, which is like ridiculous, but it's so good. And just as a little warning, I will be kind of referencing things later into the series in this video, just talking about how the pilot sets up for future events in the show. So if you have not watched the whole thing yet, first of all, go do it immediately, like handle that, but watch that before you come back and watch this video. So I've got the first episode right here for me to watch. I'm gonna get started and we'll just jump into my thoughts. So we really start with this montage where we see this like football, soccer, whatever team playing together. They seem to be fairly good the way that the shots are set up, and there's this high energy music and it fades almost into this record scratch with Rebecca. And we know that there's been some kind of change, and the movers certainly indicate that change even further, which just sets us up really nicely for where we're at in this universe. This moment with the painting shows that she's not in this great place and she's not being particularly nice, but that bit of sassiness gets us to be like, okay, but do we like her? Which is really important for Rebecca's character, especially early in the show. I also love this moment where Rebecca has this like kind of badass monologue when she's firing the old coach, because again, we're seeing that she's not being particularly nice, but in this moment we appreciate it and it makes us like her, even though for a long time we're not gonna like her. And again, that's so important for getting her character established. And it really becomes reminiscent of what we see later with her and Nora having that whole boss ass bitch idea. I also love this as a form of exposition. The idea of using a commentator, it's something that naturally happens, so it doesn't feel like exposition being thrown in your face, and their job is to make comments, so you're able to get the information in a very natural way. And here we immediately see who Ted's character is. We fully can understand the energy and the vibe he's bringing, and it so juxtaposes what we've just seen with Rebecca that there's an immediate interest in how that's gonna play off of each other. And they don't linger, they bring him right on the plane, he's already on his way there, we're not dealing with him leaving or anything like that, which I think is strong. The Aussie character is also a great opportunity for a recurring character, recurring like just fun little joke, which they utilized well. They didn't overdo it either. But it also, this moment shows the general consensus of locals and how they feel about Ted coming into the picture, which also adds a point of tension going into his arrival. He's literally on the plane. This "we packed him, we'll carry him," just that quick line really adds an extra layer of authenticity to Ted's character, which is really great because it was so quick, but it added so much to the story. They also did a great job of like getting these character dynamics set immediately. You immediately understand who all these different people are, how they operate within this universe and this story, and just how they behave, which is really impressive in a pilot, especially in a comedy. I usually find that comedies can take 3, 4, 5, even up to a full season to really fall into themselves, and this show does a particularly good job of going in right from the get-go. Maybe it's because it comes from those old commercials that they had a feel of the story in the world already, but it's really impressive how quickly they're able to do that. You know, on rewatching, Nate's character arc feels so set from the minute we meet him. Like, it just makes sense how he got where he did. Once you get to that point, everything from the entire show falls into place with Nate. in a way that is really interesting. And so it feels so intentional, which is so great in the show when something is revealed and it just makes the rest of the show feel intentional. Another one of those moments, that current, that just is a quick moment that says so much. This show is really great at adding those in, and something I would like to learn a lot from. And the moment with the tea is, and then really with the sparkling water later, but it starts here with showing that idea that Ted is not from around here. He is a new kind of a thing. And I also love that they're not afraid to embarrass Ted. You know, when Rebecca asks, oh, would you like a tour? And he's like, yeah, I'd love to see Abbey Road.
Do you believe in ghosts?
Like, having that kind of moment where it embarrasses him without, like, it's embarrassing to the character without dishonoring the character, which is a really fine line, and they do it really well in this show. Now, the chaos in this press room is expressed so well. But more than that, it creates this really great base level to later explore Ted's anxiety, because we can come back to that feeling, and you can even just being in the press room, they use that a few times to kind of show that, and you come right back to it. They really do such a great job introducing all the characters. Like, one line from Roy, and like, you get such a clear image of him. There are also a lot of tension points in this script, even at this point. Like, there's so many different things pulling. It doesn't really matter that we don't know about Rebecca's true intentions yet, which is really going to be the major thing here, because there's enough to really pull an audience's attention, and there's enough story here. Well, Higgins is so hopeful.
Thank you so much.
See, what's great is that Higgins' optimism after hearing from Rebecca and all that reflects our own. So when she reveals her true intentions,
I want to torture Rupert.
We have that same shock as him.
I want him to feel like...
What I also really like is Ted's not knowing also kind of reflects our own. Like, if you're an American watching this show, you're probably not familiar with a lot of the ways that words are replaced in British English. So having Beard, who's this kind of guy who looks into things and researches them, whatever, so he already knows, he's also grounding us in the story and the setting. The music in this episode supports the story so well. Whoever was in charge of music on this did a fantastic job. One thing I also really like about this show, and we see it really clearly in the pilot, is they don't take unnecessary excuses for drama. It's a comedy through and through, but it's really rooted in drama too. You know, there are very serious topics that are discussed in this show, and it treats them seriously. But it doesn't, like, force drama where it doesn't need to be. So even though Roy, to his face, like, insulted him, he's not gonna then be pissy about it. Which I think... I mean, it supports who Ted is and what the show is about, but it also it diverts a bit from what we tend to see with TV. The pacing is also really good too, which I can tell you from reading scripts, that makes a huge difference. I never noticed Beard just squished in the back seat, and Nate is just eating it up. And that comment about sneaking the woman behind her back, it gives her justification, not for everything she's doing, but as a viewer, we feel less angry towards her behaviors. And the music again, it's just like showing how he's feeling before we've even gotten to the point where we really feel it too. They reveal just enough of the struggles that Ted is having with Michelle and their marriage to pull us in even further and want to know what's going on there, but not too much where you're like, okay, we get it, this is a story. Like, it's enough to be real. It pulls into the drama that's integral to the story, but it doesn't overwhelm us either. The "now I can't sleep" comment just reiterates this is a comedy, truly, after that heavier moment, which is so great to end the episode on. That was the Ted Lasso pilot. One thing that I didn't get to mention during the episode that I meant to say was This show also, with the pilot, you see, especially after having watched the whole thing, how great they are with callbacks, which is something I always love. Not only when a show can do a callback, but when they do it right, which I really think Ted Lasso does a good job of. I really like the idea of this series, so let me know if you guys want me to continue doing this and kind of bring the perspective of somebody who's into the writing side of things to look at pilots and why they work, or maybe even why they don't work so well. I am definitely looking forward to doing more of these videos, so if you want to see them, please let me know. If you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Let me know what show you want me to review next in the comments, and if you're new to my channel, make sure you subscribe and press the bell so you don't miss any of my new videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye!